I would like to welcome you all to our conference about the legal protection of family. It's an excellent and very important topic. I did not to emphasize the importance of this topic. In the center of our conference is a book and its presentation today. It's a work of 9 colleagues, Family Protection from a Legal Perspective, and the presentation will take place soon, and afterwards we have in the morning session 4 further reports. The first speaker is the organizer of this conference, the director of the Ferenc Mádl Institute for Comparative Studies, Professor SZILÁGYI. I would like to introduce him first of all, and I would like to ask him to take the floor.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Some months ago, we have another conference. Unfortunately, at that time, it was a webinar, and at that time, after an idea of my colleague Kata Visontai, we said the screen is yours, but now it's so good and so nice to hear that we can use the traditional way how to introduce somebody. After the welcome speech of Professor Vékás, I would like to express my gratitude on behalf of the organizers, especially Ferenc Mádl Institute of Comparative Law and, of course, Budapest Bar of Attorney, which provided this nice place for this conference. Of course, I have to continue this order with other contributors, and therefore I would like to express my gratitude for their contributions to the members of the research group of family protection, especially to the head, the president of this research group, Professor Lenkovic, Professor Tímea Barzó, and I would like to continue this order with other presenters, especially Professor Maria Draškić, who will support this conference with the book review. Many thanks, however, many thanks for my colleagues from Ferenc Mádl Institute. They provided a proper and inspiring environment, I think, for this research. They were quite enthusiastic to do that, and I hope that at the end of this conference you have the same conclusion as me, that they were successful. Dear participants, at this moment, grabbing the opportunity, I would like to present the outcomes and results of the Central European Professors Network for you, not merely the outcomes of this research group, but I would like to provide a view in a broader sense. As you know, this project was launched by the Hungarian government to strengthen a cooperation among the national scientific communities of this region, of the Central European region. And in the first year, there were established 4 research groups, one about the family protection, one about the freedom of expression connected to the social media, one on the reasoning and interpretation on human rights, and one connected to the religious freedom. One of the main tasks of the members of this research group was to publish books, to write chapters into these books, and I'm quite glad to present you that we could achieve this goal. Therefore, now we have 4 books. One of them is here, and I hope that everybody could receive these issues. I would like to summarize some outcomes of these books, because all members could something about the results of his or her research group, but maybe you are not owners of this knowledge connected to others. I would like to start with a book edited by Marcin Wielec, the director of the Warsaw Institute of Justice, and this book focused on the digital platforms, the impact of the digital platforms and social media on the freedom of expression and pluralism. It's worth noticing that for me, this book contains more questions than answers, but it's absolutely compatible with the topic of the book. You know, these challenges deriving from the digital era. It was absolutely a nice conclusion of this book that the freedom of expression and pluralism, they are important issues, values, right, in the given countries of this region. All of them emphasized these values as essential part of their national system. However, it's absolutely clear that this new digital era with multi-companies causes great challenges for them, and at this moment, you know, the proper answers, they are in an optimistic approach, they are underway. Book about the religious symbols in the public sphere. For me, it was a little bit different from the previous one, because it provided, as a conclusion, that the application of these religious symbols in the public sphere is a tradition in the given countries. What does it mean, tradition? We, you know, the members of the group, they couldn't find, for example, the numerous regulations concerning this issue. There were not thousands and thousands case law connected to this issue, except maybe the decisions, judgment of constitutional courts, because this usage of these religious symbols, they were absolutely part of their traditions, of their customs. Taking into account this conclusion, I think we can announce that the usage of these religious symbols and, of course, these Christian traditions, they are absolutely living part of this country's legislation and, in this case, practice. I think that we can make a similar conclusion in connection with the outcomes of this of the present research group, including the book of this research group, that we could find similar characteristics connected to the topic of family protection, especially as the components, the partners of the marriage, for example. You know, this is a man and a woman. Or, for example, in connection with the adoptions rules, we could find similarities in these countries. But of course, the detailed analysis of this book is not mine, but Professor Draškić. As to the fourth book about the constitutional reasoning and constitutional interpretation, This research group focused on the practice of constitutional courts in these countries and analyzed the methods applied by this constitutional court, focusing especially on the interference among the constitutional courts and European Court of Human Rights and Court of Justice of the EU. I think there are so many interesting conclusions connected to this group that I don't dare to summarize it. However, you can read some of them on the slide. These books, they were the significant characteristic outcomes of these research groups. But beside these books, of course, there were other tasks for the members of the research groups. One of the groups of these tasks connected to so-called dissemination events. As you can see, it's a quite colorful group of the tasks. You can find added lectures, conferences, roundtable discussions, press interviews, webinars, discussions, and it's worth noticing that the number can be seen on this slide. They are not the final numbers because these dissemination events, they are underway, especially as to the group of the constitutional interpretation. The professors' network also includes a sub-project. This project connected to the juniors, to the future of our national scientific communities. This is the Central European Junior Program. It's worth noticing that we were very successful, and we are very lucky that we could call students from this region, and that we could launch this project in September of this year. This program includes 7 juniors, also in the internship program of the Ferenc Mádl Institute of Comparative Law, and also in the doctoral school, which doctoral school pursue and included research program. The name of this research program is Central European Comparative Law Program. These juniors, they are in the audience of this conference. Therefore, this project has 2 pillars, an internship program and a doctoral program. And of course, we would like to continue this project also in the next year. This junior program provided a proper opportunity for us to launch another series of books. This series is the so-called Legal Studies on Central Europe. And the first group of this series include 10 books about absolutely different legal fields. The first one, I hope so, can be published in this year, and you can see, this is the lectures on East Central European history of law. This book and the authors of this book is also experts, professors from this region. We could finish the invitation process of authors connected to this book, and therefore I can announce that more than 2/3 of these authors, they are professors outside from Hungary. I think it also provided a fantastic opportunity to the experts of this region to cooperate and to strengthen and improve their partnership. Besides these books, besides dissemination events, the members of the group, they also wrote articles connected to the topic of their research group. This amount of articles gave a nice opportunity for us to launch, to establish a new journal, a new English language journal. Of course, in this project, everything is about English. However, all of us knew that English is not the proper language to be a kind of common language of this region, but nowadays this is the fact that this is the proper language for us. This journal is also in English, and I think the title is absolutely obvious: Law, Identity and Values. We also use a kind of abbreviation referring to this journal. This is LIVE. I think it's so nice abbreviation, and define the living traditions of this region. Their participants, their colleagues, I mentioned numerous publications for you, book series, also this journal. This development demanded a frame, an institutional frame for this project. Demanded and also provided an opportunity for us to set up a new publishing house. It happened, and you can see this publishing house also on the cover of your book. This is the CEA Publishing. This is the Central European Academic Publishing. And via this publishing house, we would like to provide opportunities for the professors of this region to present their specialties, characteristic activities for others. Of course, we are at the beginning of this construction. We started this procedure based on your books, on your contribution. Therefore, I have to repeat myself that I have to express my gratitude for this contribution to you. I think it's a nice thing that we have a Central European Professors Network managed by an institute. But somehow we felt a lack in this area, in this region, at the level of the civil organization. Therefore, with the initiatives of some national association, this national association, they set up a Central European Association, Central European Association for Comparative Law, which are absolutely open for the participation of professors of this region. And now we are about to find proper and important topics, issues, activities for this association. Important, in our opinion, for this region, for these national communities. The first topic of this association, as far as I know, will concentrate on the assessment of scientific activities of the jurisprudence in this region, because we felt that this topic, how to assess the scientific activity, especially in connection with law, is not an easy thing, and it has it's a great challenge for almost all countries, communities. Therefore, I hope so that at the beginning of next year, we can start with the scientific activity of the association group, concentrating on the assessment of these systems affecting this region. Their professors, their participants, I hope that these outcomes, these results presented our enthusiasm for this region, for you, for your activity, and to support the improvement of the cooperation among these national scientific communities. But I have another task to present some words about the potential future. First of all, I have to note that your activity pursued the financer to continue this project. And therefore, the Hungarian Parliament made a decision to continue this project for 5 years. Therefore, now I can announce that we have a good opportunity to go towards to this direction. And next year, you can continue this project. It means that we could determine the next topics of this project. It means that the next project, the Professors Network, is going to focus the private sphere, the individuals, also the families, also the nations, and also another important issue, the environment. Maybe we can say that the created world. As to the individuals, the right to privacy will be in the focus, will be on the focus of this project. As to the families, the parental responsibility will be the part of this project. As to nations, the symbols, the constitutional protection and the legal protection of symbols connected to nations, to states, and other communities. But in this project, the communities definition means or includes the traditional communities. That is the topic of the third project. And in the fourth group, the experts, they can continue to pursue a research connected to the constitutional protection of environment. It's worth noticing that our countries, they have relatively new constitutions. And in our opinion, these new countries, they could find some new solutions how to solve these problems, of course, at the constitutional level. Everybody knows that constitution is not enough, but it's an important part of this activity. Therefore, we knew that we can continue this project, also the Professors Network, also the junior program, of course, but it's worth noticing that in another framework, in another institutional framework. At this moment, I cannot announce the name, the given institution which will continue this project, but I can notice that the CEA publishing, it will be part of this one, the Central European Academic Publishing. I hope that in some days, maybe we could do that, because we could determine the exact manager of this new project. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your contribution, and thank you so much for this opportunity to present the outcomes.